Hello, welcome to the self-learning platform by Dr. Sushma Singh. Today we are going to start Unit 1, Development of State Politics in India. Let us first have introduction about the unit. State politics as a specialized field of politics in India developed in the post-independence period. The states of Indian Union assumed the form of distinct identities following their reorganization in 1956. Prior to their reorganization, they were placed in four categories A, B, C, D states. But it was only in the 1960s that the political scientists felt the need to study state politics as a specialized subject. The disappointing developments during the 1950s and 1960s in several states prompted a large number of them to study politics in different states. In an attempt to place the state politics in India in a perspective, two seminars were held in the USA in 1961, University of Chicago, and in 1964 the Massachusetts Institute of Technology, with the initiatives of Myron Weiner. The scholars working on 9 of the 17 states in India presented their findings in the later. The report on the first seminar was published in Asian Survey of June 1961. The papers presented in the seminar of 1964 were published in the first book on State Politics in India 1968, edited by Myron Weiner. In the similar vein, Iqbal Narayan edited a book State Politics in India 1976, which was the first attempt to cover politics in all states in India, including Assam and Jammu and Kashmir. Its preceders, Wainer's book, did not cover all states. State politics has undergone significant changes in the post-independence period. It has emerged from the periphery of the national politics to the center stage in the politics of India. Since the 1990s, the states have become partners in the coalition government at the center. Earlier, they occupied secondary position in relation to the center in India's politics. Now they are in a position to not only set the agenda for the politics in India but have become partners in the formulation of the state policies. The states participate in the national politics by becoming members of one or the other coalition partners. They present different regional and social forces. The purpose of this unit is to familiarize you with the development of state politics in India. This unit does not analyze the state politics. Analysis of subject matter state politics will be done in other units of this course. The present unit discusses how the patterns of state politics have changed in India since the 1950s. The main issue which was covered in this unit include changes in the status of states in the regional and national politics, the issues and problems, leadership pattern, and political parties and political processes. The focus of the unit is show how the pattern of state politics have developed over the period. Now we are going to cover the point state politics, the 1950s to 1960s. State politics in the first 2 decades after the independence grew under the influence of center, which focused on the pursuit of the national state building in India. During this period, Nehruvian model of development and the single party dominance of Congress signified the politics in India. State politics was mainly a replica of the national politics. The central government occupied a dominant position in the Indian political system, where the state occupied the secondary place. Under the directive of the center, the state government introduced several measures in order to contribute towards the nation building, like land reforms and community development programs. The Congress party shared power at the center and in a large number of states. Different factions within the Congress representing sectarian interest in the states were appendages of the faction leaders at the national level. The fact that the dominant party reigned in the center and several states simultaneously gave the impression that there was a common pattern of politics in the states and center. The governors, as appointed of the sympathetic government at the center, with a few exceptions, remained non controversial. No doubt it was a dominant pattern, but along with there also emerged descending patterns simultaneously within the state politics. These developments challenged the dominant pattern of politics, the dominant position of Congress, and secondary position of state politics. Within a few years of independence, the Naga and Mizo insurgencies started in the northeast India. Plebiscite front movement started in Jammu and Kashmir, and the demand for the reorganization of states was raised in South India. Even the parties with different ideological persuasions from that of the Congress played a significant role during this period in the politics of the state. The socialists and the left together in Bihar, Uttar Pradesh, Kerala, and West Bengal, Jana Sangha in North Indian states, the Akali Dal in Punjab mobilized the people on different issues against the Congress. These developments had set a tone for a pattern of state politics which was to emerge in India in the near future. The Dalit movements led by the RPI in Maharashtra and UP and the Dalit Panther in Maharashtra, the cow protection movement of the Jan Sangha RSS and their affiliates in North India, socialist movement of the spread of Hindi language and opposition to the imposition of Hindi language in Tamil Nadu and demand for succession of Madras or Tamil Nadu from India were the early examples of ethnic dimension to the pattern of the state politics. The Congress hegemony was also challenged by conservative parties like Swatantrata in Gujarat and Rajasthan. These developments had prompted Singh Harrison to call the 1950s as the most dangerous decade. The dominant pattern of state politics was challenged even from within the Congress. Faction leaders within the Congress were not behind in creating their respective social bases. Even while Being members of Congress, they consolidated their own bases in their respective states. This, in fact, resulted in the trading of charges between the various faction leaders. The example of Charan Singh is among the most appropriate here. He had already carved out a base for himself within the intermediary and the backward classes of UP while he was still in Congress. The faction fight between Charan Singh and other Congress leaders had resulted in the split of the Congress in Uttar Pradesh and the emergence of a very powerful regional and rural force in the politics of the North Indian states. This pattern found its expression in the defeat of the Congress in several states in the general election in 1967 and formation of the coalition government in 1969. It set a new trend in the politics of in the states of Union of India. Now we are going to discuss the point rise of regional forces and state politics, the 1970s. Change in the pattern of state politics during the 1960s to 1970s took place in the backdrop of the demise of Jawaharlal Nehru, the decline of the Congress system, and rise of Indira Gandhi, who personalized the Congress and institutions of governance. One of the most significant feature of the state politics between the late 1960s and the 1970s had been the rise of the ruler rich or the kulkas, especially in the areas which had witnessed the Green Revolution. The most relevant examples are those of Jats in UP, Haryana, and Punjab, Yadvas and Kurmis in Bihar and eastern UP, Reddis and Kamas in Andhra Pradesh, Vokalagas and the Lingayats in Karnataka, etc. Charan Singh forced Bharatiya Kranti Dal and the focus mainly on the agrarian agenda. He provided leadership and forum to a strong section in the state politics in the North India for 2 decades, 1967 to 1987. He, along with the state level leaders in Bihar and Haryana, dominated the politics of the North India during this period. In a large number of states, strong regional leaders with formidable social bases among the agrarian classes emerged on the line of the Uttar Pradesh. These leaders and parties focused on the regional issues and demanded revamping the center-state relations. The role of the governor, who was perceived to be sympathetic to the dominant party, the Congress, came to be questioned and demand for changing center-state relations arose. These developments became decisive in the state politics in the subsequent years. The process of coordination between the regional leaders and the political parties became conspicuous. Some of these leaders graduated to be a national level leaders. These leaders drew their strength from the regional or state politics despite having graduated to the national politics and led regional political parties. Imposition of emergency provided an opportunity to the several states and national leaders and parties to come together against the dominant Congress. Regional and national parties formed the Janata Party at the national and state levels and formed the governments in the center and the states. The Janata Party led governments both at the center and in the states introduced certain measures which had repercussions for the state politics. The appointment of the Mandal Commission and introduction of reservation for backward classes in Bihar and Uttar Pradesh set the new trends which were significant both for the state and national politics. The state level leaders and the political parties challenged not only the leadership and organization of Congress symbolized by Indira Gandhi, but also sought a strong place for the states in the center state relations. Conclaves of the opposition leaders, appointment of the Raja Manners Commission in Tamil Nadu, the resolution of the Left Front in West Bengal, and appointment of the Sarkaria Commission in 1983, etc., for revamping of the center state relations were some of the most significant examples of rising significance of regional political forces during the late 1960s, early 1980s. The leadership of Congress and Indira Gandhi was challenged by the JP movement and Gujarat agitation in the 1970s. Unable to meet the challenge of the regional forces, JP movement and verdict of Allahabad High Court against Indira Gandhi, the center to imposed emergency in the country with 20 months 1975 to 1977. The post emergency era saw the elevation of the regional leaders like Charan Singh to the national politics. Along with these state level leaders like Karpuri Thakur in Bihar, Devilal in Haryana, Ram Naresh Yadav and later Mulayam Singh Yadav in UP and in several South Indian states started pushing their programs in the central politics. Now we wind up today's lecture. Thank you so much for your attention.